Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. This is the award-winning car talk show, In Wheel Time. A good morning to you. Coming up, we'll review our featured vehicle of the week, the 2021 Toyota 4Runner. Famous racer and commentator David Hobbs on the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival. We got your weekly cruising calendar, plus This Week in Auto History, and the stories making automotive news headlines this week. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time car show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars. King Conrad DeLong is back.
Yay.
In all of his glory and splendor.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
It's good to have you back. And then, of course, we need more Jeff Zekin.
Absolutely.
I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday morning. Thank you for wherever you're listening, watching around the globe on this Saturday. It's kind of a gloomy day here in Houston, Texas. We've got actually a hurricane approaching the Louisiana coast, and of course we're getting the clouds from that already.
A little residual.
Pray for everybody in Louisiana.
Always,
this is
yes.
the 16th anniversary of Katrina.
That'd be tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yeah, sad.
That's when they're supposed to see landfall.
Well, you know, we've got a very special guest here that I want to bring on. He's one of motor racing's most remarkable all-rounders. In a 31-year driving career, he raced in almost every imaginable category. Endurance sports racers, touring cars, Formula One, Formula 5000, Indy Cars, IMSA, Trans Am, Can-Am, and even NASCAR. He's been a television commentator in America for nearly 40 years, most recently as part of NBC's Formula One team. Now, at last, he's put down all of his experiences in a highly readable memoir that we'll get to in just a moment. And it's welcomed by racing enthusiasts on both sides of the Atlantic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our program, Mr. David Hobbs. David,
Awesome.
it's a pleasure to have you with us this morning.
Awesome
Thanks so much
stuff.
for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Boy, with an introduction like that, I'm looking over my shoulder, wondering who you're talking about. That was, extremely flattering of you. But, I did have a long career in racing and TV. And they overlapped for about 15 years in the late 70s and during the 80s. But, I'm at Road America this weekend for the SRO Championship running. And, of course, we live in Elkhart Lake. Me and the family live up here in the summer months. Otherwise, we live down in Vero Beach in Florida.
Wow, that's great.
Well, you deserve good places in the summer and the winter,
Yeah.
and we're glad to see that you're doing well. We wanted to talk to you today about a couple of things. One is a thing that I got a press release on, I would want to say 6-8 weeks ago. And I got excited about it because from Houston, Texas, Chattanooga, Tennessee is really a good day's drive away from here. But this time of the year that this event is going to happen is such a perfect time of the year. And we wanted to talk to you about the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival that you were a part of.
Well, I went to the first, which of course now was 2 years ago. Last year's was cancelled because of the COVID situation. And for a first-time event, everybody was absolutely bowled over. It was so successful. It was what generally considered by the motorsport historic aficionado as somewhat not the sort of place you'd normally think about. But, of course, Chattanooga turns out to be a wonderful city, a wonderful downtown. And Brian DeFore and his brother own a lot of properties and hotels there. And there are a couple of real strong go-get guys. And they came up with this idea. They're very keen. I mean, Brian does quite a bit of racing and historic racing. And they came up with this idea, and everybody said, well, it's not going to work. And it's right downtown. And everybody and the people from Chattanooga really took to it, and it was very, very, very successful. And I'm fully expecting the same this year as well. They had a big crowd, and they have a lot of events. They crowd a lot of events into 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I think this year, obviously weather permitting, because all these things happen outside. There are a lot of stuff inside, but most of it's outside, so you're really relying on the weather a little bit. But at that time of year in Chattanooga, it should be it should be very good. And if it's like the one 2 years ago, it'll be a roaring success.
Well, you got all the fall colors in October.
Yeah.
The weather's supposed to be spectacular, and I can't imagine anything less than a spectacular event with wonderful cars from all over the United States gathering for this event called the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival. And you are going to be there? What is your capacity there?
Well, as it has been through life, sort of hanger-on, sort of shaking a few hands, signing a few autographs, and I shall be on a couple of forums they're having with other drivers. The main driver who'll be there will be Brian Redman, another Limey who was very, very successful. He also lives in Vero Beach, but he'll be there, and he is the Grand Marshal and will be the main guy there. There'll be other drivers, I'm sure. And, of course, part of the action this year will be the new Pace Grand Prix. When they had it 2 years ago, they had little exhibition runs up and down what really is like a river walk, very attractive. Anyway, they've extended that. The brothers have extended that, and it's now a 2-mile circuit. And, of course, Jim Pace, who regrettably died late last year from COVID, a very young guy, he was only in his 50s. He was one of the main drivers behind the whole thing in the first place. He worked with Brian and his brother putting this thing together in the first place. So in honor of him, the races are going to be called the Pace Grand Prix, which will be a lot of cars. It's a long circuit. It's 2 miles long, 11 turns. So that'll be pretty interesting. And of course, a lot of the weekend will be put to the memory of Jim, who was a terrific race driver, multiple winner. And we're obviously very sad when he died so young, which was particularly ironic because here at Road America, here at Elkhart Lake, we have a track called Road America, which is probably one of the best racetracks in the United States. Mm-hmm. And it has a long uphill straight to the start-finish line. It's a long straight. From turn 14 to turn 1 is over a mile. But the first 2/3 of it are uphill. Last year, Jim, in July, had the most spectacular accident you could ever see. He was in a shadow Can-Am car with about 800 horsepower, and the thing flipped over on the straight and absolutely totaled the car because he was doing about 195 miles an hour at the time. And he sort of crawled from the wreckage and took the fiberglass dust out of his hair and said, that was a bit of a close one. And I mean, it was amazing sight to see. And then 3 months later, he died of COVID. I mean, you just can't get over the irony of that. Yeah. So a lot of the weekend will be devoted to memories of Jim and what he did for sport.
Are you keeping yourself safe with the COVID thing going around?
I hope so. We've both been vaccinated. My wife and I got vaccinated early on. Our sons are vaccinated. The whole family is vaccinated. Elkhart Lake's only a small village, but, there are a number of people who tested positive in the village right at the moment, which is a bit of a bummer. So I wear my mask around the town. I mean, Elkhart Lake's only got 900 inhabitants. But and at the racetrack, I shall wear it today. But excuse me. Basically, we are trying to keep safe. And the problem is it sneaks up on you. And most people that get it, if they get tested positive, and they don't even know they've got it. Then, of course, unfortunately, 2% of the population go through the most hellacious 2 or 3 weeks and eventually die. And I certainly don't want to do that.
No. We hope that you stay healthy because we need you at the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival. And by the way, I would encourage our listeners and our viewers to be sure and check it out. It's online at ChattanoogaMotorCar.com. The event takes place October 15th through the 17th, and it is going to be a spectacular event. By the way, I have to ask you, what kind of car do you drive around?
That was the question I was going to ask.
What are you driving up there? Look at him.
More importantly, what is in your collection? That's what I want.
Well, no, we got to
start with
the driver.
driver.
Let's start with your driving car.
All right.
How does a Honda CR-V
That's okay.
Great car.
I can
Great
buy
car.
that.
It's dependable. We'll just leave it at that.
I can buy that.
The thing is, well, actually, I tell a slight white lie there because just at the moment, I am driving a BMW 760.
Oh.
See, that's
V12
yes.
with about 680 horsepower.
No, that's the wife's car.
Well, no, the wife's got to see how big. This BMW is an animal. I mean, I haven't driven a high-performance car for years. And, boy, you just tickle the throttle in that thing. And, I mean, it leaps to 100 miles an hour before you get to the end of our street.
Yes.
Which is about 50 yards. So it is very impressive. But we have a Honda dealership. And we've had it now for 33 years in Milwaukee. And our elder son runs it, which is allowing me and Mags to go to, Florida all winter and swan around up here all summer.
Sure.
So he's working away down there in Milwaukee. And he had bought this car online. He's a big follower of that Bring a Trailer.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
He watches that every day. And anyway, he saw this car and bought it. And it's in very good condition. It's only a few thousand miles on it. And unfortunately, one of my big regrets is that I never bought any of my race cars. The bigger regret is that none of the teams I drove for ever gave me one, which I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's the best way to get one.
Unless you wreck it.
Then they're giving it.
Yeah, give it to you.
But I mean, so I don't have a collection, and I don't have any decent cars, or what you'd call decent cars, but the Hondas do us pretty well. But
well, you actually drove a Honda in, I think it was F1 in '68, back the first time Honda came into Formula One. Is that correct?
I did indeed, yeah. In the Italian Grand Prix, and I didn't qualify. Well, I drove two Hondas in that. In those days, there was no practice and qualifying sessions. It was all just practice, and whatever your fastest lap was over the Friday and Saturday, that was pole position. And John Surtees had got me the drive because Honda had developed their own air-cooled V8,
right?
And they had their own chassis, which was a magnesium chassis, which obviously in the event of a shunt is extremely dangerous because once it catches fire, you can't put it out. Anyway. They wanted me, Mr. Nakamura, who was the team manager, wanted me to drive both cars in practice and then choose the one I wanted to use.
Wow.
Well, the one car was their V8 air-cooled engine car with the magnesium chassis. And the other one was a chassis they had got from Lola through John Surtees' connections with Lola. And that was a monocoque chassis with their new water-cooled V12. And it was a bit of a no-brainer. The air car was a real flexible flyer. It didn't matter what you did with the springs or roll bars. The thing still acted the same because the chassis twisted so much because the engine was hung on a sort of cantilever out the back. So and a tremendous twisting force. And also the engine was incredibly undriver friendly in as much as it gave fairly good horsepower, but it had absolutely no drivability. It just didn't do anything up to about 6,500, and it blew up at 7.5. So
real narrow window there, huh?
It was a pretty narrow window. The V12 was much more flexible, much torquier. So I fiddled around swapping between these two cars over the weekend. So anyway, I qualified about 15th. And John Surtees was on the pole in the other one. And because I chose the V12.
Right.
And I'd got up to fourth. And that's in the days of people like, obviously, Jackie Stewart. There was some pretty good, strong field.
Yeah.
And I remember Chris Amon went off at the Lesmos, the first Lesmo, and he disappeared into the trees. Oh. And I thought, oh, Lord. That's the end of old Chris Amon then. Did I say Peter Revson? I meant Chris Amon. Chris Amon went off in the trees in his Ferrari. And anyway, about 2 laps later, there was Chris Amon peering out the hedge at us all. So I knew he was all right.
Well, that was good.
But eventually it broke. So that was my one and only. And they were going to use me in 1969 in the Formula One team. But unfortunately, at the end of 68, they decided to put all their top engineers, who were the crew, the mechanics on the Formula One team, they put them to work developing the Civic engine to try and try and meet the new American emissions without using a catalytic converter. So they took all their top guys to do that.
Wow!
Well, what a cool.
It was interesting. So many years later, I became a
Honda dealer.
A Honda dealer, and I was on the dealer council in 1993, and we went to Tokyo, to the Tokyo Auto Show, and to see the factory and meet all the top guys. And Mr. Kawamoto, Nobuhiko Kawamoto, was now the worldwide head cheese. And the dealers there was about 12 of us, I suppose. We all go into Mr. Kawamoto's office to meet him. And he leapt up from his desk and came across the room and took me by the hand and bowed profusely and said, David-san, I apologize for your race in 1968. All my fault. The engine broke.
Taking the blame.
He was the mechanic on the car.
Wow.
Well,
Of course, the other dealers are all standing there absolutely goggle-eyed. So that was
what a cool
that was
story.
quite a good moment in my life. That when he'd been one of the mechanics. It dropped a valve, so it was hardly anybody's fault really, but there it was.
So the Jim Pace Grand Prix at the Chattanooga event, there's going to be 9 classes of cars from like the 20s and the classic tin era. All the way up until electric vehicles and everything in between. That should be a fun event to watch.
All the categories.
Well, I tell you what, I'm damn glad I'm not organising it, because there's going to be a lot of classes. I don't think the classes are going to be very big. They don't want too many people on the track.
Right.
And I believe there's going to be, some pretty strong rules about how you drive. Obviously, this is on city streets. They will have SCCA marshals there. Everybody has to have a current license issued by the FIA or ACUS or SCC or IMSA. So they have to have a proper license. You can't not any old owner's going to drive. You got to be a race driver. And so there'll be, and now, well, I don't know whether they're going to be real all-out races or whether it'll be more of a parade.
Exhibition.
But there are a lot of classes, so a lot of drivers will be on the track.
Well, the part of it I want to go see is the Can-Am pre-1969.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That
would be great.
The Thunder cars. And I know you drove a few of them back in the day as well, if I remember correctly.
I did. I drove the Can-Am. Well, the very first year I drove over here, 1969. Actually, that's not quite right. My very first time here was 1962, when I drove, when none of you were born probably, but I drove in the first.
Well, thank you.
In the Intercontinental 3-hour at Daytona, which was the forerunner of the Rolex 24-hour.
Okay.
The very first race. I drove in that in a Jaguar E-Type, XKE. I didn't finish, unfortunately, but then I came back in 64 and drove here in Road America in a Lotus Cortina sent over by Lotus from England. And in that 500-mile race, and honestly, I'm not sure where I finished or if I did finish. Then I came back here again to Road America in 1969 to do Formula 5000. And unfortunately, it was race 7 of a 14-race series. And I got off to a very good start. I didn't get off to a very good start at Road America. I dropped out early on and went on to 7. But over the course of the next 7 races, I had quite a few wins. And I only lost the championship by 1 point.
Ouch.
But somebody was fairly impressed, and I drove I drove a Can-Am car right here in the very first race for a private owner. And that broke. But then I drove a lot of Can-Am cars over the next, up until 1973 was my last Can-Am year, really.
Yeah, you kind of drove in that era of just crazy horsepower and unbelievable speed, because when you were driving Le Mans, that was before they put all the chicanes in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I drove the last race before the chicanes. And my co-driver was a kid called Damon Hill.
Okay,
yeah.
Winner,
F1
F1 champion.
champion.
Yeah.
F1 champion.
Wow.
And we drove a Porsche. But yeah, the Le Mans, but before they put the chicanes in. They were 240 mile an hour as regular clockwork every lap.
Wow.
Gosh.
240. Didn't Lotus have the Gary Player car?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what. Yeah, that stands out with me. And we have a similar background because I shake a lot of hands and sign autographs as well.
Oh,
Yeah, right. They don't know whose hand they're shaking, but it's his.
and they always wash them after
I
they
think
do.
it's just an honor to have you on today. And then to speaking with you. Thank you.
Well, David, it is great to talk to you. Do you still have the competitive edge? When you drive the big BMW 7 Series, do you just get at the stoplight next to somebody and maybe a Ford Mustang and just go, I think I could just ruin this guy right here?
I was following a pretty hairy Porsche the other day, and I thought that thought didn't cross my mind.
Yeah, because I think once you're a race car driver, you always are. It doesn't make any difference what age you are. There's that competition thing that always is going on inside you all the time.
Well, he did say that BMW would do 100 by the time it got to the end of his street, so he'd had to have tried it at least once.
I think he said 50 feet. I think that's what
and along with you in Chattanooga, Wayne Carini, the collector car guru. One of my favorites,
Yes.
Linda Vaughn, is going to be there. I am an Oldsmobile guy, and to see Linda Vaughn there would be awesome.
Miss her shift.
Miss her shifter.
Yep.
And then you mentioned Brian Redmond as well. So.
Well, David, I wanted to tell everybody again, it's an October 15th through 17th event at Chattanooga Motor Car Festival, and you can get more information at ChattanoogaMotorCar.com. David Hobbs, it is a true honor and pleasure to have you here.
Thank
and
you.
if I
Yes.
make it up there, which I'm going to try to do, I've got to be sure and grab your hand and say hello.
We'll do a
Thank you
remote.
very much indeed. Thank you.
All right, David. Well, thanks again, and have a great Saturday, and enjoy
Thanks for having
Wisconsin
me on.
weather while you got it.
See you again. See you all at Chattanooga.
You
bet.
got it, my friend. Take
Thank
care of
you.
yourself.
How cool is that?
Yeah, very cool.
Wow.
I got goosebumps. I know.
You know, to talk to somebody with that kind of a history.
Oh, my gosh.
Not just as a driver and having driven that level, but also as a commentator and hearing his voice and knowing that voice is in my head for years.
Yes.
Watching motorsports in different levels of motorsports.
For as long as you've known motorsports, he has been there. For
By
sure.
the
That's
way,
incredible.
he also has a website, davidhobbs.com, that'll take you to his son's Honda dealership.
Oh, great.
And you can get memorabilia there. And also Habbo, the autobiography is the name of the book,
very
if you're
cool.
interested in that. So David Hobbs, our first guest this morning, and we thank him for joining us and taking the time out of his day. All right, time now for this hour's car review. Had a chance to drive the Toyota 4Runner for 21, made in Japan, by the way.
Yeah.
I did not know that, because they build so many cars over here in the United States these days. I thought, that's probably, made somewhere in Tennessee or Mississippi or somewhere. Nope.
Chattanooga.
Nope. This is actually made in Japan. Here are the available trim levels in the Toyota 4Runner. The SR5, the Trail Special Edition, the SR5 Premium, the TRD Off-Road, the TRD Off-Road Premium, the Venture Special Edition, the Limited Nightshade, and the TRD Pro. I had the 4x4 TRD Pro V6.
That is a list of models.
Well, this is one of the things that Toyota does, especially in a long-running vehicle like this has been. And by the way, this design is the Limited Nightshade, and the TRD Pro. I had the 4x4 TRD Pro V6.
That is a list of models.
Well, this is one of the things that Toyota does, especially in a long-running vehicle like this has been, and changes from last year. Exterior body features body on frame design, architecture, 1980s handsome is what I made note of here. If you like old school, you're going to like it. I do, because I am. Oversized open mouth grill, big optional roof rack. It must create havoc in the wind tunnel, but who cares about that, because this is an off-road vehicle in every stretch of the imagination, especially the TRD Pro that I got to drive. You can go off-road, or you can go to a sophisticated chrome-style version of the car and take it down to the opera on a Saturday night. What could use improvement? I got a question mark here. New body styling? Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of got the appeal of old school, and I like it.
Yeah.
Interior highlights. Very straightforward with rectangular lines. Low center console with vertical center stack. Push button start on it. At least they've gone from the key to the push button. Plain upholstery. No frills here. I'll go with the cloth. It's got a little design feature in it that I like, and you know I like cloth anyway. Cargo trunk room, fold flat second row seats, allows a huge cargo area. What I liked about it, it's straightforward design.
And has a tremendous following.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a passionate following of owners of this vehicle.
It has a 4-liter, 270 horsepower V6 in it. It turns out 278 pound-feet of torque through a 5-speed automatic transmission, which I thought was kind of unusual. Mostly today it's either 6, 8, or 10. Yeah.
But again, it goes to the old school. You said it's a 14-year-old platform. So.
Yeah, it is. So it gets 16 miles per gallon in the city and 19 on the highway for combined to 17. I actually got 18.2 miles per gallon over 360.5 miles. What could use improvement? I think it really could use a 6th gear, because it could use a little bit better gas mileage, and I think that would probably help. Ride and handling, lots of suspension travel in this thing. It does not ride like a truck. Well, it actually does. It rides like one of the new trucks.
Okay. Here, Mars is.
I don't know what Mars is. He's out in some other world, I think, over there. We're just checking on him.
He's in Zoom land.
Anyway, it's got lots of suspension travel. I wouldn't approve anything about that. I liked it. I like the way that it rode. Base price, $50,470. That's the base trim. As tested, $52,164. Base model price, you can get in one for $36,765. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that it is an 11-year-old body style with the architecture of on-frame. Anyway, competitors to this vehicle in size and price, the Jeep Wrangler. Now, the Wrangler starts at $28,900. I did not know that. The Chevy Tahoe starts at $48,000, which is a much bigger vehicle. And the Land Rover Defender, I had to throw this in there, $62,250 is where it starts. So, really, it kind of hits the sweet spot there as an entry-level price of $36,765. I like it.
A great size SUV.
Toyota 4Runner, made in Japan.
All right.
I'd like to remind everybody that the In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast source. And the In Wheel Time Car Show will be back right after this quick break. Stay with us. When you're ready to shop Chevrolet, we know one that should be at the top of your list. Bayway. Locally owned by Houston-born and raised Daryl Wisniewski, Bayway brings a sense of family to your Chevrolet buying experience. When you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, you now have a place to go. General Manager Lincoln Stahl guarantees Bayway will beat any competitor's written price on the new vehicle you choose or pay you $1,000. Bayway Chevrolet is located only 8 minutes from the Beltway and Highway 288. Whether it's online or in person, you'll be welcomed like one of the family. Chevrolet.com. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday, September 18th at 2 Loopy Tortilla Mexican restaurants in Katy and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods at 2 locations. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Loopy Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy, and inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway near Kirby. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Loopy founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in. Tailpipes and Tacos, inside the Loop on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby, and in Katy on the Grand Parkway just south of I-10, where you'll see the In Wheel Time Car Show. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, September 18th, 8 to 11 a.m., weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The in-wheel time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.